Adjust the frequency and volume a bit.
Startups, originators, musika, kultura, the arts, politika, sports, news, technology, crime, tragedy, comedy, lahat ng makabuluhan.
We are your independent podcast content creator, straight from the Philippine Islands. Mabuhay.
You're listening to Podcast.Ph.
Welcome to the 23rd episode of Martin's Mancave on Podcast.Ph. My name is Martin Andanar. You may download our programs on iTunes. Just type Podcast.Ph programs. You may also listen to our audio on demand on SoundCloud.com. Just key in Podcast.Ph. Better yet, go to our official website, Podcast.Ph. Add, like, or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Our guest today is a fine, young, and very intelligent lawyer who first stole the hearts of millions of Filipinos when she was thrust to the limelight as a spokesperson of former Chief Justice Renato Corona during his impeachment trial. As they say, the rest is history, diba? And now you can see her, you can watch her on television, either as a host of 9 News, TV5, or answering questions about the Typhoon Yolanda rehabilitation progress. Attorney Karen Jimeno McBride was born on December 6, 1980. Her parents are Nicanor Jimeno and Rita Linda Jimeno. She has 6 siblings, namely she has 3 siblings, namely Laarni, Nikki, and Paolo. She graduated elementary and high school at the Manresa School in Parañaque. She took up her college at the University of Asia and the Pacific, finished Bachelor of Arts, major in Humanities with professional certificate in management, and ranked number 2 in her class. In 2005, she finished cum laude, Bachelor of Laws at the University of the Philippines, and in 2011 she finished Master of Laws at the Harvard Law School, the Cambridge, right? She did take up a few courses also at Harvard Business School, Harvard Kennedy School, at the ICC Institute, International Court of Arbitration, and at the University of Florence, Italy. She has worked for the International Justice Mission, the CICIP Salazar, Hernandez, and Gatmaitan as associate, and Kisumbing Torres as associate, and as I mentioned earlier, she was the spokesperson of Chief Justice Renato Corona during the impeachment trial. She also taught at the University of the Philippines in Diliman, at the Centro Escolar University, and San Beda Graduate School of Law, and San Beda College of Law in Alabang. And currently, she hosts for 9 TV network, TV5, and she also writes for the Philippine Star. She is a junior partner at the Jimeno Cope. Tama ba? Cope?
Cope and
David Law Firm. Kasi sabi akala ko kasi
Parang foreign.
Isa David ba?
Yeah.
David. Jimeno, Cope and David Law Firm. And she's also currently the presidential head for communication and external affairs for the Presidential Assistant for Rehabilitation and Recovery. Her hands are really full. And she has received numerous awards. As I mentioned earlier, cum laude at the University of the Philippines, Dean's Medal for Academic Excellence at the University of the Philippines as well, a Certificate of Academic Excellence at UP. Is this Pi Gamma or Pi Gamma Mu?
Pi Gamma Mu.
Pi Gamma Mu International Honor Society. She was inducted in 2005, and Phi Kappa Phi International Honor Society in 2005. She also received a Fulbright scholarship, but she did not claim. Tanong natin namaya kung bakit hindi niya inaccept yung award na yun. Pero sayang. She was also awarded People Asia's Woman of Style and Substance in 2012. And she has published for Asia Legal Business Magazine, for Canadian Chamber of Commerce, for the Philippine Law Journal, for CCH, Doing Business in Asia, Asia Pacific Legal Development Bulletin. She has also published for Asia Pacific Dispute Resolution Insolvency brochure for Baker and McKenzie, and CDM Domestic Legal Issues Guidebook at the UNEP Riso Center, and submitted for publication in the Philippine Law Journal. She was admitted to Philippine Bar in 2006 in New York. In 2012. Gusto kong tanongin yan mamaya. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Karen Olivia V. Jimeno McBride. Welcome, and thank you for accepting our invite
Thank you for having me here, Martin.
to talk about your life. My goodness. Tingnan mo naman ang... I have never met any woman na ganito kadami yung na-achieve at a very young age.
Maybe I'm not that young.
Thunders. Thunders na ba? Okay, sige. Let's start from the very beginning. I usually say where this all started. Let's talk about your parents, Nicanor and Rita Jimeno. Tell us more about them.
Well, for starters, both my parents are also lawyers. So I think that really influenced my decision to become a lawyer eventually. But I think the reason why I'm also into so many other things is because I grew up watching both parents who were also into a lot of things. So for instance, growing up, my dad, apart from being a full-time lawyer na laging busy, he was also one of his hobbies was hunting, and then eventually long distance cycling, and then he's very active as well in sports, but would also spend time with us. And then on the other side, my mother, who's also a lawyer, was also very busy. Apart from becoming a lawyer before, she was also a businesswoman. She was producing concerts and fashion shows, and then she also writes, and she was, at her time when she was in her 20s, the youngest director of the National Housing Authority.
Wow,
So,
talagang ano siya,
in her
no?
20s, 23, yeah. So I grew up having this concept na even if you're a woman, you can really do so many things with your time, and even while being a mother at the same time.
So, yung parents mo must have been a, that kind of a couple that was kind of different during their time in the Philippines. So they were like more liberated in a sense that your mom did so many things.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. Tsaka my mom especially, her family was really into academic pursuits. Like my grandfather, like my great-grandfather, he's also a lawyer, and then was a professor also in UP College of Law, and was one of the members of the commission that drafted our 1935 Constitution. So the first Constitution of the Philippines.
My
and
goodness.
then
Your grandfather.
yes, great-grandfather.
Your
na.
mom's
My
lolo.
mom's grandfather. And then he also wrote one of the first books on land titles and deeds.
Wow.
And then my mom naman, she was really for studying. So even when we were kids, parang kung ano-ano yung, even if it's summer, naka-enroll ako sa ballet and jazz, painting. I played the piano since I was a child growing up.
Great.
Until I was high school. I would do recitals. And so mga pang all around talaga. And then I have my mom's sister. She's also she's taken up actually more degrees than I have. She has a master's, a doctorate, postdoctorate, all in the US, and she's a genetic scientist. And she's
Galing.
currently one of the heads now, a program director for USAID, and before the youngest director for the Bill Gates Foundation, working with the White House on genetic projects naman for crops, resilient crops.
Galing, ano? Grabe. So, kayong lahat na magkakapatid, talagang aral, gano'n.
Yes, but I have a sister then a lawyer, the younger one. But I think in terms of excelling, mas meron motivation on my part because I was a middle child of 3 girls. So talagang I was never spoiled by my parents and of course no
KSP.
special treatment.
KSP ka siguro.
Hindi. Very compromising at marunong magbigay lagi because again you have an older sister na special because she's the eldest and then the younger sister has always felt as still the youngest child. She claims to be the youngest pa rin kasi youngest girl and favorite talaga ng dad ko. And then of course the brother, no question. Favorite ng pareho at ng lahat because not only is he the only boy, youngest pa.
So I'm a middle child too. So I sort of have when I was young, I felt that way, and I felt that I had to somehow achieve some things that, alam mo yun, parang you just sort of surprise your parents that, hey, look at me.
Yeah, that's true. Parang you have to earn, di ba, the recognition.
Yeah, that's right.
And I can see your accomplishments on both walls in your studio. Yeah.
Oh, it's not so
all
much
the
compared to
degrees.
you, but anyway. All right. So, growing up, parents who were also lawyers, and you have 3 siblings. How was it, like, again, growing up? So, hindi naman siguro kayo nag-aaway ng mga siblings mo. It was just more of you being challenged that, I have to be like that.
Nagkaaway. Lalo na with the younger sister. I think kasi with the 3 girls, tig to 2 years yung age gap. So, you really end up playing together. And of course, I have an older sister na may pagka-bossy. Parang, syempre, pag bata kayo, minsan nagde-decide kayo pag 3 years ko, ano yung theme ng laro nyo. If it's going to be school, or kunwari, shopping. And my sister, lagi siya yung masusunod na, okay, no, we're going to do school, and ako yung teacher, kayo yung students. And then, pagka nagkaagawan pa sa toys or whatever, when I would tell my mom na dahil nagkaaway na kami, if it's my older sister that I'm up against, she would say, but you have to learn to respect your older sister. She's much older than you. So I give way and apologize to my older sister. And then if it's my younger sister that I'm in a fight with, she would say, dapat intindihin mo because you're the older sister. So naisip ko, teka, bakit hindi ako nananalo? So that's why I'm saying that I think when you're a middle child, you end up learning how to compromise. And also, at a very young age, I learned that for whatever recognition you get, you have to work for it.
Tell us about grade school at Manresa and in Parañaque. Grade school and high school. Tell us about your years there.
I actually had fun studying in Manresa, and I started very early. I went to nursery at 3. When I was 3 years old. Yeah, kasi my birthday is December 6, so my mom was not sure if she should start me at 3 na magiging 4 years old na ako during the school year. Yeah, you've read that, no? That's why actually interesting that you brought that up, Martin, because when I read that book, it explained a lot why my progression was slow at start. Kaya nga, now, I started excelling at grade 2 and 3, so my classmates would always say, swerte ka, matalino. Sabi ko, no, actually, if you look at my records, nursery, I was actually behind. And that's, I think, the same in Outlier na, di ba, hockey players, when they start young, but if you're a 5-year-old up against an 8, malayo yung skill level. And that was the same for me. As a 3-year-old.
Yeah, you have a hard time, and then because you're used to competing with older classmates, then you become sort of better.
Yeah, I think eventually, but I really have bad memories of my first few years in school kasi nursery, I was 3 years old. Most of my classmates were either 4 or 5. And of course, I was slow compared to them in picking up the learning curriculum. So, I would have the stamps that, now looking back, iniisip ko, parang hindi ba abuse yun? Na they would have stamps based on your performance at the end of the day. So, meron kaming...
abuse.
Kasi psychological abuse because if you do very well, merong shooting star stamp that says excellent. And if you're good, very good stamp. And then, if you're not doing well, keep trying, and it's a frog. And I would always get the keep trying frog stamp na, syempre, pag uwi mo, parang markado ka, school bus pa lang, makikita na naman. Kasi it's when I keep trying ka. And then, they would also have like overtime for those who they feel are behind. So instead of going home at exactly the time the others would go home, I would stay with the other few students na pinapa-overtime work. So again, at the time, I was actually classified as one of the slow learners, and then I just started excelling grade 2 onwards.
Kasi naman sobrang bata mo pa nun, diba? Siyempre pag 3 years old ka, no? But you weren't a crybaby, I suppose.
Not really, because again,
tapang, no?
kasi grade 2, sorry, being a middle child, I think you're used to, and also, as a middle child, you're used to losing to your siblings, but also, I grew up with a big family. I have a lot of cousins, and pati yung mga guys,
you're close,
very close, yeah, sa father's side,
extended.
yeah, and then we'd have sleepovers pag summers where we'd either stay at my house or at my lola's house or one of my cousin's house, and then we'd play. But a good side of that is you really learn to put up with yung lahat ng pang-aasar. Because yung mga lalaki, grabe talaga mga asar. Yeah, lalo na yung mga older. And of course, you have the bossy, older cousins. So, I really learned a lot from growing up with them. And, yeah, kaya hindi talaga ako iyakin.
And nung high school, how about high school? So, I guess you already caught up when you turned first year high school.
Yes. By then, when actually as early as grade 2, I started being in the top
excelling.
10 of my class. And then,
and
then
you know.
na-realize ko, sarap pala. So I started really studying more. And then, from then on, parang I would be in the range of either top 1, 2, 3. Hindi bababa sa top 3. And then, so high school as well. I did very well in school, but never really neglected any of my studies. So, apart from doing well in school, I was also a cheerleader.
Wow, so
cheerleader.
You mentioned you're a pianist?
Yes.
I
took ballet at some point, but it was not for me.
How about swimming?
Yes, I was in the swimming varsity.
Oh my goodness.
And then I played softball then.
Lahat, pinasok mo na. Kaya parang napasok ka sa Harvard. Kasi they look at, like all around.
Yeah, and then I also, of course, played tennis then, but with a private instructor na. But that's why my schedule, if you look at it, I'm used to a packed schedule. Kasi before, as early as grade school up to high school, parang after class, I'd have meetings with student organizations that I'm part of, and then do training, and then do homework, and then sleep. So parang clockwork. But then I'd also go out pa rin with friends.
Galing. Yeah. So, well-rounded, well-rounded. Later, I'm gonna ask you your definition of coolness. Kasi siyempre marami nakikinig sa atin ng mga younger people who have different opinions and different definitions of what cool is. And to me, you're a very cool person, at the same time intelligent. And how do you get to mix that? I'll ask you that later. Okay, so let's fast forward to after high school, you went to the UANP. Why UANP among the many universities? Yeah.
That's a very good question, Martin, because at that time, I really could not even decide where to go because I come from a family na mga UP graduates, up to my great-grandfather nga, all the way up to my grandfather and even my uncles and aunts. So that's what they call family legacy. So they were all insisting na dapat UP. And in UP, I was supposed to take up public administration.
Nice.
Public administration and business administration and accountancy. And that's a 5-year course. And my cousin also passed that course. So if I went there, magiging classmates sana kami. And this is a cousin who's my age and who's been a best friend since I was a child kasi 2 months lang agwat namin. But then I also passed Ateneo Legal Management, and then UANP, they had this 5-year program that had a master's degree along with it. And my mother at that time was active in Opus Dei as a supernumerary. It was more of like she would do the retreats and everything. So she was telling me, keep an open mind about UANP because one, she liked the idea of getting a master's degree after a 5-year program. And then second, she was telling me if I get the BAA degree from UP, she doesn't think that I would be able to use an accountancy or accounting license unless I'm really decided that I want to be a tax lawyer or a lawyer accountant. So she was saying, I think it's a better track for you to take masters instead. I mean, that 5-year program in UANP. Plus, you get a lot of spiritual guidance because it's UANP, meaning it's Opus Dei run.
And that was during the time when, I'm sorry, but during those years, it wasn't really fashionable to go to UANP, right? I mean, it was, now it's fashionable, but before, parang nagsisimula pa lang, di ba? Palaki ng palaki pa lang.
Yeah. But then, I think this is one of the times that I see the value of having a good teacher. Kasi I love economics. It's one of my favorite subjects. And one of my teachers in high school, who's an economics teacher, was telling me there's a very good school that used to be a think tank, and she was referring to UANP, formerly named CRC, Center for Research and Communication. And she was saying, if you're interested in economics or business, this is the good school to go to. And ako kasi, along the way in my life, I always look for mentors.
Yes.
And I take their advice really seriously. So that's why I was mentioning my mom's opinion, because that really played a big factor in deciding where to go.
Your mom is the biggest mentor.
So for me, regardless of where most of my friends ended up going to college, I did not take that into account anymore, because I had friends na kung saan pinakamaraming friends kami from high school na pupuntang college, doon nila gusto, so that they can have the same group of friends around them. For me, it was not part of the equation.
Galing. Tapos, and then afterwards, you graduated with flying colors, and you moved finally to the University of the Philippines to take up your law.
That was the non-negotiable. I was not even allowed by my parents to take the entrance exam for Ateneo Law.
Oh.
So talaga UP Law lang. And they told
UP
me,
Law.
and then I was joking, what if I don't get into UP Law? And then my mom was saying, well, if you can't pass the LAE, meaning the aptitude exam for UP Law, then that means you don't even deserve to be a lawyer. Malupit.
Iba. So how was it? You took up your grade school and high school in a private school, an exclusive school, and then UANP, of course. The classmates are, should I say, upper middle class to the rich, and then suddenly you're thrust to the University of the Philippines na lahat, no? Lahat nung tao pwede mong makasalamuha, sa lipunan ng Pilipinas. How did you have a difficult time adjusting there at UP Law?
In terms of the people, no. But facilities, yes.
Tell me
Kasi
about it.
if you go to UANP, naka-aircon lahat ng classroom namin, may carpet pa. Tapos kahit yung banyo, naka-aircon, marble pa yung So, tapos syempre, meron soap, meron paper towels. Like, you really, siguro by Filipino standards, medyo spoiled na yon. But when you get to UP, yung banyo talagang, lalo na when I arrived, most of the facilities were still being reconstructed. So yung luma, naabutan ko pa yung mga swinging doors tapos minsan walang flush, walang soap, walang tubig minsan. So
Philippines.
Tapos may tabo minsan in the
microcosm of our society.
Yeah, and then some of our classrooms did not have air conditioning, which is a challenge if you really pag tanghali, nagka-class ka, mainit talaga siya. So but in terms of people, I found it very enriching kasi I really had a lot of classmates na iba-iba yung background, and then meron pa all the way up to Mindanao. But me kasi I've always been exposed to people from different backgrounds. When I was back way in grade school pa, I volunteered for the Youth Christian Leadership Community where we would teach sa mga slum areas every Saturday. And that was since I was grade 5 all the way up to high school. So kung doon pa lang sanay na ako, I was open, my eyes were open to the reality na iba-iba talaga yung background ng mga Pilipino. So, makita mo yung from the pinakamahirap up to really wealthy. And I did realize na when you go to a school like UANP, you only see mostly the side of the upper middle class or up to the wealthy demographic of the Philippines. But I never forgot na iba-iba talaga yung background ng mga tao.
I've experienced the same. I went to UP for a year, and of course, mashaka, diba? I get what you mean, and especially moving from UP to an Australian university. boom, the facilities, but
Yeah, and of course, we both went to Harvard. Kung nakita mo na yung Harvard Business School,
oh my goodness,
I always joke that it looks more like a country club rather than a school because if you look at their cafeteria, my God, even just the food quality,
diba?
so different.
Sana mag-level up ng ganon, no? Well, sana. Talagang, sana, Lord. Hindi kasi I believe that students in the Philippines, they deserve, especially University of the Philippines, they deserve top-notch facilities, and it's only one of the greatest ways for us to be competitive, for our students to be able to experience the facility na ganun din sa abroad. Diba?
But I guess to make our UP students feel better, it's proportional to the cost of the education because again, diba, Harvard is so expensive and tuition fees. So, and at least in UP, I'd like to give credit to the school that they really do subsidize students, according to need. So,
well, anyhow, I'm gonna ask you about. So you went to UP and then you took the bar. So I want to talk about the Philippine bar examination, and then you're a New York bar passer. So meaning you can practice in New York, and also your experience in Harvard. Okay. When we come back, let's play one of your songs first right now. Slow Me Down by Emmy Rossum. So what makes this song one of your favorite songs?
Well, I think when I was asked about my 3 favorite songs, I would say that this is not even in the super top 3, but then it applies. I really like this song as well, but it applies to me right now because it's about basically taking for granted how life goes by so fast. And I think I'm at that stage right now. I'm doing so many things. Sometimes now I can't believe that we're almost close to December. So I really need to slow down as well. So this song is very applicable.
Grabe. You actually remind me of my daughter who has so many things in her hands right now. But siguro I'm gonna make her
have her listen to this.
Well, have her listen to this and then probably meet you one of these days para ma-inspire naman siya, diba? Emmy Rossum, Slow Me Down. We'll be back with Karen Jimeno. Don't go away.